I'm sitting here with Steve Johnson. Actually, I've known Steve for a very long time. He's actually done some work for me, some fantastic work building websites, and I wanted to bring him on because I want to talk about the future of AI, artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about boondocking, which is something that he loves to do as far as a hobby goes, but building his websites allows him to do that. And also, we're going to talk about the energy and basically it is recommended for the younger generation to come up to do what he does. So, Steve, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Sure, it's good seeing you again. It's been a while.
Yes, yeah. Actually, we're on location in Oklahoma right now. I came out. I'm on this long trip. You can follow that in some of the other videos as well. But talk to the audience as far as where were you doing growing up? No one grows up and say, I want to build websites. So, like, how did you get into doing that?
Oh my gosh, I've been involved with computers since I was 12 years old. This is like in 78 or 79. My stepdad was into computers, and he had brought home this old is a Heathkit. It's a kit computer. You used to be able to build yourself back in the day, and he built one and he let me play with it, and I just kind of got hooked. I was like 12 years old, so I learned how to use computers, and then a couple years later, I was 14, they bought me a Radio Shack computer, an old TRS-80, Model 1, and I just had a lot of fun with it, learned how to program with it. Back then, there was no internet, but we had something called bulletin boards. So you could log on, we dial up on your modem, log on to these little bulletin board computer systems, and you could post messages to other people. You could only log on one at a time. One person could log on his bulletin boards at a time, but you could go on there and write messages to people, send email, download software, and what all. And I really got into that stuff. And well, I mean, long story short, I mean, I basically built a whole career with computers. I worked for a couple of software companies. We did a lot of healthcare claims processing systems. It's really what we built. And then around 1996, the internet really got big, really got popular. So I wanted to learn about the internet. So I bought a couple of books that just taught you how to write HTML, CSS. Just learned the whole thing by myself. And a year later, in 97, I wanted to really build a big, substantial website that could really do something good for people. So I built a cemetery records database.
Okay.
And so you could, genealogists could upload cemetery records into it. And it'd be like this large database. You could search, dead people, and so I built that. And I actually still own that site today, but that kind of launched me into this.
You want to talk about that just in case they're interested in that? What's the website?
Interment.net. So interment.net, and so it's really for genealogists. And actually, when I started building that, I actually got a sponsorship with Ancestry.com. And Ancestry started paying to just have their ads on the website, so I started building an income off of that. And actually, that's kind of how I transitioned away from software companies. I built the cemetery records website, I got sponsorships from Ancestry, and I was starting to earn enough money from that where I could quit my job at the software company and just start working from home, building this whole thing out. And that kind of launched. Since I'm now working full-time for myself, I can start building other websites, and I got into blogging, and I probably built 100 websites at a time, just experimenting on what people wanted to visit, what they wanted to see. And
we were talking about the beef jerky as well. You want to show them the beef jerky? I used to have a business that had a mailbox, and beef jerky just started showing up at my door, and I'm realizing it was all for Steve. So talk about how that all played out. That was hilarious.
Well, yeah, so blogging, right? So blogging really got popular around 2002, 2003.
Yeah, right.
It was actually started by this guy, Jack Dorsey. He created Blogger.com.
Oh, X too, right?
And Jack Dorsey eventually went on to create Twitter and so forth, but he started Blogger.com. And so that's kind of how blogging got started. And so I started blogs, and I wanted to know what that was about. So I just started building just random blogs. I was trying to find some kind of niche that would stick. And I started a site called strangenewproducts.com. And it was writing about just weird gadgets that's out there, and anything just dumb or stupid or weird. And I found this one product called, I can't even think of the name of it right now.
But it was strange.
It's basically a fart spray, is what it
A
was.
fart spray.
It was a little bottle, and
Okay. Yeah.
a little bottle, and it just smelled rank. And you could just spray it, and it's supposed to smell like fart or whatever. And I thought that was so funny, so I just wrote about it. And all of a sudden, a bunch of other people saw it, and they just started reblogging it on their blogs. And I was getting all this traffic coming into my site, Strange New Products. I was building up this huge following, and so it became almost like a full-time job, just going out and looking for weird stuff to write about. And so it got my mind going, and I thought about, well, what if I extended this over to food?
Okay.
Like strange food or something. And that actually worked pretty well. I started writing about all this weird junk food that was out there. And so I started a site called Junk Food Blog. And that started building up traffic. And, well, over the course of a few years, Junk Food Blog got really popular. There's a lot of people were visiting it. And all these junk food companies started sending me stuff to eat, because they wanted me to write about their food. And gosh, I was getting cookies, gum, energy drinks, chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting coupons from like Carl's Jr. for their new hamburger.
Oh, jeez.
I mean,
All from blogging. This is just
all from
writing
blogging.
out just what you were thinking at that moment. Right?
I was getting frozen pizzas. Like you get these styrofoam boxes, and there'd be frozen pizzas in there because they wanted me to eat their frozen pizzas and write about them. Claim Jumper sent me this huge giant box. Claim Jumper, the restaurant.
Yeah, sure.
They branched out and really released this line of frozen foods. It's all based on their menu. Big giant box, styrofoam thing, and it also included a big motherload cake in there too.
Wow. Okay.
And so, anyways, I was eating all this stuff. I started out at I'm 5'8",
Okay.
I started out 150, 160 pounds, I ballooned all the way up to 240 pounds, and I was just getting big.
Because you're eating all the junk food.
I was eating all this junk food.
Oh,
and
man.
I actually tried to stop eating it because I could see how much weight I was gaining, but I couldn't stop because number one, when you get all this stuff, it looks so good,
Yeah.
and two, the manufacturers they email you or they write or they call you and say, hey, did you get our box? What did you think?
Yeah, right. You
Take?
can't tell them no.
And so I feel like in my audience they always say, well, what's that like? Have you tried this? It's like I've got to be the expert on junk food now. And well, anyway, so I got up to 240 pounds. I was already wearing a waist size 40 jeans. I was now to the point where those were so tight, I had to go up to 42, waist size 42. And I was like, no way, I'm not going up to 42. I'm already big. And so I just said, yeah, I can't do this blog anymore. I had to stop. But one thing I learned though in doing junk food is I was also getting a lot of beef jerky.
Right.
And there's a lot of beef jerky companies sending me packages of jerky. And some of it was just regular beef jerky, but I was getting ostrich jerky. I was getting kangaroo jerky from Australia. Even got cactus jerky, just someone took leaves of cactus and just, scraped off the needles and dehydrated the leaves and put salt and whatever on them. It was actually gross. But anyways,
don't recommend that one. Okay, good. Yeah.
I was getting all kinds of, and so I said, I realized that beef jerky was pretty lean. And low calorie, fairly lean. Some of it was pretty sugary, but there's others that's not sugary at all.
Yeah.
So I realized, I could probably just do a beef jerky blog and probably lose weight eating it. So I started.
So you countered off the junk food with something healthy, and it would work. That's right.
So I started bestbeefjerky.org, and I still own that site today. So I just went out to the grocery stores and just started buying packages of jerky, and I was just writing reviews. And at the time, there's no traffic, no visitors, but you just keep posting more reviews. Eventually, Google starts to find out that you're there, and when people search for jerky reviews or what's the best teriyaki jerky, they started finding my site. And next thing you know, my traffic is going up, and beef jerky companies are sending me more jerky. And it's probably a few years later, I'm just getting swamped with free samples of jerky. Boxes are coming in, envelopes are coming in with jerky from all over the world. And it's really good stuff. It's really gourmet stuff. It's just incredible. A lot of it's homemade. Some people just send me little Ziploc bags of their homemade, and they just want to know, what do you think of my jerky? Do you think it'll sell well? And I eat it and say, yeah, it's really good and all that. And well, eventually, where we get to the jerky being sent to your office. My wife and I, this is like in 2013, my wife and I took off. We sold all of our stuff. We moved out of our place, and we started traveling around the country on motorcycles. And we did that for 3 years, just living on our motorcycles, and we'd just stay at hotels for a week or two, and sometimes we'd be at an Airbnb. And I'd have all of my jerky sent to a co-working location. And at the time, you owned a co-working location business, so I had it sent there. So all this jerky's going to Brian Walker's place. And he's getting these envelopes, and he could smell the jerky through some of this stuff, you know.
If we had a dog or a cat in the building, they would have gone crazy. Yeah. Oh man. Yep.
And so we'd get to a city where we'd get a hotel to stay for a week or two, and then I'd have him forward all that jerky to where I was at, and just so I could write the reviews. And that was fun too, because we got to know a lot of the jerky manufacturers. So they would actually invite, as we were traveling around our bikes, they would invite us to come over to their home office to visit and shoot the breeze or whatever, and they give us tours and give us free samples, and that was a lot of fun. I got to develop flavors of some of these jerky companies, you know, and
so that's good that you're able to do all that from the road. I mean, you said 3 years on the road. You're just writing. It's your whole day is writing and sampling jerky at that point, but also food overall. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Is that something you recommend to people now getting in? Like, what do I do? What can I work from home kind of thing? What do you think about that?
you definitely can do that. So yeah, so while we're doing the motorcycling thing, we also did the RVing thing 3 years later after that. But during that whole period, there's totally ways to monetize that. If you want to do that as a lifestyle, you can. So there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of gourmet food manufacturers. They just want publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And these days, social media interaction is really the way to market yourself. And so they just are looking for either social media people or YouTubers to just talk about their products, blog about it, put it on social media, whatever. You can totally do that. There's a lot of people that do it currently. The RVers in particular, whatever reason, it really works out well for them. They can camp at an RV park or boondock out in the woods somewhere, go into town and do a review of restaurants, do a review of this little store. And if you can build up that following, well, you can get sponsorships. Either it's some kind of RV products manufacturer or motorcycling products manufacturer. And just in the motorcycling, when we were doing the 3 years on motorcycles, we had motorcycle product manufacturers approach us. My wife in particular, because she's a woman and she's on a bike, they want to send her gear like vests, boots, jackets, so she can model it, put it on her website, and so there's a way to make a living on that. Well, there's the revenue you can earn off of YouTube or off of blogs, but you can get sponsorships to pay for that stuff.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. You had to stick with it though. And it sounds like you almost got into it by accident, but at the same time you stuck with it for years, and it took years.
You got to
It's not the overnight success that a lot of people are trying to get.
Yeah, it's right. There's no overnight success. There's no such thing as overnight success. You got to work at it, and you got to stick to it. Be consistent. I mean, you're going to go through a period where you're not really doing much. You're not earning much. Mm-hmm. It's just there's a long ramp up period. Eventually, you get to a ways where you start to go up, and then all of a sudden you just start getting traffic, and you just gotta sit it out. And it helps if you have already some income or savings to work off of. I've always built websites, so I always had clients that I built websites for. I was getting residual income. Plus, I own my cemetery records website.
It baffled me the fact that you started in computers in the 70s, because I forgot that computers even existed there, because I was born in 78, so what does that tell you? But at the same time, you mentioned Radio Shack as well, and I worked at Radio Shack in the late 90s. And then, so what were you seeing now going forward with websites, maybe how essential they are to business?
Websites, well, so the evolution of websites, I mean, it's really evolved a lot, where now, I think, particularly AI comes in. Mm-hmm. Any business out there really needs a website, because it's the only really presence that you can control yourself. Like, there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses that have a Facebook page, but Facebook controls your web page, your Facebook page. So if, for example, like you said something controversial about COVID or something, Facebook can just take you down and you lose your whole presence. So that's why you need your own website so you can control that presence. Just like a mailing list, if you have a list of subscribers, clients, you want to have a mailing list. You can control that mailing list. You don't lose your mailing list, but you don't control your Facebook following. Facebook can take that away. Same with Twitter, TikTok. So you definitely want the website. But I think with AI coming in, particularly with AI automation, that's a big thing right now, where you can create agents that work for you. I think what will happen moving forward is people are going to go on their phone and they're going to say, hey Google, show me a list of Mexican restaurants near me or something. And Google will actually find one and it'll say, well, here's this place, it's got a 5-star review, it's got this and this. And they won't actually visit the website for that Mexican restaurant. Someone will just say, okay, give me the directions to that restaurant. And it'll just take them straight there. So you're going to be doing these Google searches without actually visiting the websites of these things. But as a business, as let's say if you own a Mexican restaurant, you still need that Mexican restaurant website so that the AI can index all the information on there, as well as like the location, what you serve, the hours. So you still need that presence for AI to index. But people are probably going to visit websites less going forward. They're going to rely on AI to just give them the answers. So websites are going to evolve into this thing where it's probably going to be less visual than it has been in the past, more informational. The information needs to be structured more in such a way that AI can read it and understand it better, more precisely.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So I don't understand that as far as computer goes. Maybe don't go too detailed because I don't want to be confused myself. But usually with a website, you go on there and you look at a list of everything. You're saying there's going to be a difference where artificial intelligence is more importantly reading it to disseminate this information out in a summary format for people.
Up until now, like a lot of websites have gone more visual with lots of imagery, video, moving text, CSS, JavaScript, so on. And which looks great, like as a brochure. Like if you go on like General Motors or Chevrolet, or so, go to the websites, you see a really cool video of cars moving, and probably even might hear some sound or something. That's great if you're a human viewing it. But when AI starts crawling all these websites and gathering information, it doesn't care so much about the pictures. It's looking for details. And so now you want to build a website that's structured around all this information. It's got to be structured in a way that AI can understand what this is. So when someone's asking a question like, what is the best high mileage or car that made by General Motors or something? Any kind of question like that, and AI can give you an intelligible answer.
What's your favorite website you've built? Maybe for yourself or for other people, but maybe people are using your websites right now don't know it's actually you that developed it, like the genealogy one. So,
well, actually, I built. It was me and another partner. We built a site called Cousin Connect. This is in 2001. So I was really still big in genealogy back then, and what Cousin Connect does is it allows genealogists to post queries. And a query in genealogy, a query is when someone is just asking a question, saying, "I need help researching my long lost aunt or great grandmother, or I'm trying to find my biological mother that who gave me up for adoption." And so you post these queries, and then other people try to help answer that query. They might perform their own research, and then get back to you and say, here's what I found, or here's what you can do, so forth. So we built this website, it's a database of these queries where people can post. And so then they post these queries, and then we have these other users called search angels. And these search angels just read these queries and they try to research them. And if they're successful, they answer it back to that person. Here's what I found, my research. So what ended up happening is we started building up this huge following of people that were posting the queries and were searching and researching them. We started reconnecting people. So like people who were adopted at birth, they were able to post queries and find their birth mother, or they were able to reunite with their siblings that they never knew, or they found information about their great 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 grandfather or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Or they found out that, you know, they were descended from George Washington, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So we started answering all these questions for these people, and we were reuniting lots of people. We were getting emails back saying, "Well, thank you, you know, for this website.
Yeah.
I was able to meet my, you know, my mother who gave me up for adoption. You know, I was born, and I cried, and you know, we reunited, and we had so much fun, and we got some really tear-jerking stories. But it felt good that we did something really good,
Yeah.
you know, for the world. I mean, just
And what was that website again?
cousinconnect.com. Well, we ended up selling it, so.
Oh,
We
wow.
launched it in 2000, 2001, and then in 2016, there was this other company called Adopted.com. They wanted to buy it, so we ended up selling it to them. My partner and I sold it for $100,000.
Is that right? Okay.
$100,000 we
Yeah.
sold it for, yeah.
That's pretty
We
good.
split it 50-50. With that, my money, I bought my toy hauler.
Mm.
So after my wife and I were living on motorcycles for years, we bought the toy hauler, moved into that, and continued on. My partner, who lives in Baltimore, it's a she. She used her money to run for county supervisor out there in Baltimore County. She didn't win, but the governor, was Ben Hogan at the time, appointed her as a delegate in Maryland's House of Delegates. So it still worked out for her.
Yeah, amazing how that comes out.
Yeah.
Interesting. So going forward with more of the coding and what's happening now, artificial intelligence, is that something you're looking at for the youth of America, or is it happening elsewhere in the world?
Well, it's happening all over the world, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely. If you want to get into coding, building websites, I mean, even any kind of graphic design these days, even video production, you got to know AI, and it's not scary. I mean, we're here in Oklahoma, and I've met a lot of people out here who are afraid of AI, and I guess it's probably new. I mean, we're kind of in an agricultural area out here, but like if you want to do anything online, any kind of media production, you got to know AI. But it's actually pretty darn easy to learn. I mean, you're really just talking to it in natural language. And you can go to like chatgpt.com, and it's free. I mean, you can just start writing stuff out, and any question you can think of, you can actually tell it to write programs for you. You can say, I want to create, you know, a program or software that does this and this. It'll either do it for you, or if there's more stuff you need, it'll tell you what to do. You know? And you can give it very specific questions and say, okay, that sounds good, but I need more clarification about this. It'll just give it to you. It'll just tell you what to do. I mean, it'll walk your hand. Can't hold your hand and walk you right through it. It's so easy. But there's so many other forms of AI out there. It's everywhere now, and it's progressing so fast.
So what are you working on now? Is there anything happening
Well,
that you can share? I'm sorry.
well, yeah. I mean, I still own my cemetery records database. I continue to develop that out. But I build websites for clients. I mean, I built a site for you once, and yeah, I just built a site for a dog breeder. Lives about an hour away from here. You know, they don't even know anything about websites, about computers. So I built something that's really easy for her to understand. She can just log in and post her puppies and stuff, and she loves it. And I built a site for a travel agent. You know, I tried to make that painfully easy for them. Actually, there's a city of Atoka. It's about an hour south from here. I built the municipal website for them. That was a lot of fun because it's really intricate, all the stuff that they need for it. I built websites for chambers of commerce out here, all kinds of stuff where they can post their meetings and post their events, and a lot of that can be complicated, but you know, AI can help with a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it sounds like you're meeting a lot of good people too, for that matter. I mean, you got municipalities, a chamber of commerce, dog breeders, fun, you know, all that good stuff. So I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds rewarding to me, learning all that.
It is. I mean, you get to learn all these different aspects of business that's out there, all these different walks of life that
Yeah.
exist out there. I mean, just in dog breeding, I mean, I learned a lot about that. Just building a site for them.
Yeah.
All the different dog breeding organizations that exist out there, I learned about. Even in the travel agency world, I built a site for a travel agent. I learned about all that stuff, and it's fun to, it's eye-opening, all that stuff that exists out there. Yeah.
Now, with all this website and the power of the internet, of course, artificial intelligence coming into it as well, the need for power. Where are you seeing right now the struggle as far as how are we going to even make this work for us to enjoy all the benefits for it?
How am I going to make this work?
Well, maybe not you. Besides nuclear power, solar, wind.
Well, okay, so I think one of the big discussions about AI right now is that AI is going to put us all out of business. Yeah, I hear about that all the time, and yeah, I think it will eventually at some point, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Not that I can tell. I mean, I use AI a lot, like to develop, to write code, and well, so when you use AI, especially if you're developing code, use these tools that you pay for.
Okay.
They're very sophisticated tools, and they're not part of the free tools that are out there, but they're very sophisticated stuff. And so when you use this stuff, you only get so much usage of these tools.
Okay.
So when you're asking AI, I need this PHP script that can query this database, and it'll go out and do it, and it's very good at what it does. But it takes a lot of computing power for AI to be able to write all that code out, to think about what you need, analyze it against the stuff that you already have there, you know, how to design all that. It takes a lot of computing power, and that computing power, of course, translates into electrical power. So when you subscribe to these AI generation tools, coding tools, you only get so much usage. So let's say, for example, if you have a subscription where you pay like $20 a month to use this tool, well, that only gives you so much usage, because the company that owns that tool, they have to pay for that AI. So if they're paying, let's say, OpenAI for the artificial intelligence, OpenAI, they've got this computer system, right? And of course, the computer system is running on electricity, and that electricity is expensive. And they've got all the people in the world using their stuff, so the electricity bills are huge. And that's why now they're building out these data centers. That's why Microsoft is refurbishing 3 Mile Island.
Oh, really? Okay.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So 3 Mile Island, Microsoft has got a contract to restart 3 Mile Island after it melted
3
down
Mile
in the 70s.
Island, yeah, the nuclear facility, right? The
Yeah.
bomb testing site for those that don't follow that. But yes. Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, anyways, once you run out of usage of this tool, you just can't use it anymore, because it costs a lot of money to run all this electricity. The long story short is that AI is not going to put us out of business, because there's just not enough electrical power in our grid to support that. Like if you wanted to be able to replace all the people flipping burgers at Burger King, all the bean counters, working at PricewaterhouseCoopers, you couldn't do that, because there's just not enough electrical power at this point to run all that, even to run all the robotics and stuff. I mean, if I'm writing coding tools and I'm already running out of usage, and it's already telling me if you want to continue, you got to pay this amount of dollars. You can't run that across the entire United States, Canada, India, UK. You can't, Japan. You can't run that out and expect the whole world to just run, because there's no electrical power to power all that stuff. I mean, the way I see it, you're going to have to build, double or triple the number of nuclear power plants in this country. Not in the country, maybe the whole world. But to be able to power all that. So I think, I don't know, you go on YouTube, you see some people saying, well, by 2027, which is just a couple of years from now, we're all going to be out of business, right? Yeah. No, not true at all. It's going to be a long time for that. I don't know. I couldn't guess 30, 50 years before you start to see any substantial change like that. So there's definitely a future. If you want to go into coding, definitely a future for that. It's all going to be done by AI, but you still have to understand how software is structured. You still have to understand databases. You still have to understand the variables, different languages. What the different like if it's a server-based language or if it's a browser-based language, you still have to know all these different things to be able to design software to make it run effectively, efficiently. and make it run securely so it can't be hacked.
Mm.
So yeah, there's definitely a future for it. Like when Obama says go into coding, it's actually still true as far as I'm concerned. It's still pretty true. You should definitely, if you're thinking about it, you should definitely go into it. I think it's definitely a viable future.
Good. Yeah. I mean, it sounds rewarding. You were able to travel the entire country, just take years off, and we're still be working. So that's fantastic. I mean, you sell a successful website for a decent amount of money for that, for sure. I mean, that's pretty good. So if you're interested in computers and you know your local Radio Shack, right? I mean, that's.
I don't think Radio Shack's still around anymore.
I don't think they're doing too much to build your own computers anymore, but yeah, that is amazing. But anyway, so Steve, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to interview this. I think this is going to be educational for people that are looking at different careers growing up and knowing the good to know that artificial intelligence is not going to take over this occupation going forward. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it will be around. It's going to be involved in our day-to-day lives, but it's not going to like put us out to pasture.
Yeah. Very good. All right, Steve, I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks so
good
much.
talking
It's good
to you.
talking to you too. Anyway, this is Truth Between Lines. Thanks for watching.